Hi friend, I just wanted to take a minute to invite you to our Lash Biz Babes Experience 2026. This is a one-day all online event happening on May 2nd, and our theme for the year is going all in. We are shaking things up and doing it differently than anyone ever has before. This is going to be an all online event as usual, but it's going to be 100% a curated journey throughout your day as we guide you through the mindset, strategy, and passion needed to go all in on your business to make it your best year in business yet. All lash artists, estheticians, and beauty professionals are invited to join us. There will be guided sessions, interactive workshops, a panel discussion, and big giveaways happening throughout that whole day. And tickets are on sale now for only $199. Payment plans are available. Let's go all in on our businesses for 2026 together. All the details and the link for tickets are down in the show notes below. I would love to have you join us online in May. Welcome to Lash Biz Babes, the podcast for solo beauty business owners who want to build a full clientele and create a business and life that they truly love. My name is Erica. I'm your host. I'm a lash artist turned beauty business coach, lash educator, and social media manager for salons and beauty businesses. I'm so happy that you're here. Let's go ahead and jump into today's episode. Welcome to this week's episode of Lash Biz Babes. My name is Erica. I'm your host, and this week we are going to be doing something a little bit different for the episode. Usually, most of the time, especially recently, have been talking about like social media and clientele building and marketing and content and like what I would consider more like informational kind of how-to type of episodes, which you guys totally eat up and absolutely love, and that makes me so happy. But today we're going to switch it up a little bit. We're going to try something a little bit new, not super new, but just a little different for our show. And I wanted to talk about just some of the different like predictions I guess I have for the lash industry this year, or some different trends that I'm seeing, some differences between like now versus a few years ago. And most especially what you're going to get out of this episode is what you can do to stay on top of things in the industry as a lash artist and be able to offer your clients the best service and to be able to like stay relevant in your area and become like a go-to artist and really stand out in your area based on what's popular right now, what's trending right now. We're going to tie the two together with a little bow. It's not just going to be like, oh, predictions, here's what's trending. It's going to be, okay, here's how you can now take that and stay on top of things and really lean into that to help you stand out in your area. Because I'm going to be quite honest with you. You might think there's a lot of lash artists in your area, or you live in a small town, so it's hard to get clients, and there's so many people out there who do lashes. But the thing about it that you're not realizing, if you have that mindset, which I've had that mindset before, so don't feel like I'm judging you here, but if you have had that mindset or you do currently, please, the thing that you're not thinking about is that like there are so many lash artists and beauty professionals out there who are not staying on top of their continuing education. They're not staying on top of the trends and what's popular, what clients are looking for. There's a lot of people who do not stay on top of these things. And I don't want to say that they fall behind, because I'm sure they do just fine still and they can still get clients, and maybe they've been doing it a really long time. They've been a lash artist for, 10, 15 plus years. They're not staying on top of these things. You don't want to become outdated in your techniques. You don't want to become the person who's so stuck in their ways, they're not willing to grow or change. You don't have an open mind to evolving as a lash artist and to trying new things, or doing different styles based on what's popular right now. Obviously, in my opinion, there's always going to be a clientele for every style out there, whether you do super natural classic lashes or you do super dramatic, big, long, full mega volume sets. I feel like there's always going to be a client for you, no matter what style you do the best. But I do think that it's important to stay on top of, what is trending, what is popular right now, what are the new techniques out there, all these kinds of different things. So we're gonna talk about this. I'm like, I'm already starting to get off on a tangent that was unplanned. But I guess we could just really honestly start out with that, with like styling and maps and what's popular right now. But like I was saying, I want to finish my thought though before we get into that, is that it's really easy to stand out in your area when you are staying on top of these things, when you do know how to do the trending styles, the popular styles, when you are staying on top of products and techniques and your education, because a lot of lash artists, what you're not realizing, a lot of lash artists are stuck in their ways. They're not willing to grow, they're not willing to change. I've also had experiences where like I've looked for a lash artist and I'm looking for certain things in a lash artist, whether they do a certain style or, where's their level of experience at, or, what certifications do they have, or, like looking for specific things like how good is their retention, are they staying on top of techniques, or, are they a more advanced lash artist, right? And it can really honestly be hard to find that sometimes. And so I think there is a lot of lash artists out there, yes. But are there a lot of lash artists out there who are really taking their craft seriously and honing in on their skills and taking the continued education and staying on top of what's popular and who have really good retention and who really are like mastering their craft and their artistry? I don't think there's as many lash artists out there who fit in that category. And if that is something that you really want to stand out in your area, you really want to be a go to artist, you really love doing lashes, and you want to be that girl, you want to be that lash artist, right? Then you have got to hone in on your skills and you practice and master your craft and like really truly continue to educate yourself and continue to keep an open mind and be open to evolving and not being stuck in your ways. Because I think, in my opinion, from just my own experiences of what I've seen, there are many lash artists out there who are stuck in their ways, who were like, I've been doing this for 10 years, 8 years, 13, 15, whatever, however many years they've been doing this. And they're still doing lashes the same way they were that same 10, 12, 13, 14, 15 years ago, whatever, or that same 8 years ago. They're still doing lashes the exact same way. Their technique and their styling, it's not evolving. I'm not necessarily saying there's anything wrong with that per se, as long as you're doing things correctly and you're applying correctly and, checking all the boxes as far as like safe and healthy application goes. But what I am saying is that you're not going to stand out in your area as a go-to lash artist and really become like the master of your craft and be able to charge more and have these clients who are willing to pay that higher price if you're not becoming a master of your craft. No, I feel like if I was still actively lashing right now, this is something I would like. The things I'm going to talk about today are the things that I would be on top of and really focusing on myself to make sure that I'm staying on top of things and I'm able to stand out. Because especially in like smaller towns too, like people feel like it's so hard to build your clientele and to like stand out and you have to charge the same as everybody else. But I honestly feel like it could be extremely easy to stand out in a small town and like be able to build your clientele just simply by staying up to date, like having an online booking site, staying on top of your education. I feel like those are little things that you shouldn't overlook. But all right, I'm going to get off of my tangent on that now. Let's jump into it with lash styling. Okay, so this obviously changes throughout the years. Like when I was first getting into lashing, it was really like the perfect top line Russian volume, like true Russian volume. So there is a difference, okay? And I've not taken like a true Russian volume course before, so I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm an expert on it, but there is a difference between volume lashes and Russian volume lashes. I've seen a lot of people who just call them Russians and like they're just referring to volume lashes, but that's not. I could get into a whole story on this, but I'm going to save that for another day. My point being is that there's a difference, okay? And so the true Russian volume type of look was really popular when I was first becoming a lash artist, which is like the perfect top line. Everything is very precise. It's not like there wasn't a lot of textured looks. In fact, like the lash studio I was working at back then, You weren't even supposed to do, like, textured where you did a shorter length and then, like, a longer length, which is so popular now. It's so insane to me to think that that was, like, a no-no back then, or at least where I worked, it was a no-no. I felt like I couldn't really break the rules of creativity, which I absolutely love that that's different now in like 2025, 2020, the last few years where there's a lot more creativity in sets and we're really able to give clients whatever they're looking for as far as style goes, obviously within what their natural lashes can hold. That's one of the big differences I'm seeing is just different styles. We're getting really creative with styling, with colored lashes, with, brown lashes and color matching. And I absolutely love this era that we're in as an industry. I think it's really going to help lash extensions become a sustainable career and like a sustainable service, because that's like one of the things that people told me. Even my husband said this to me when I first was getting into lash extensions really heavily, was out like lash extensions are just a trend and they're going to fade out and you're going to have to find something else to do and they're not going to stick around, right? But I feel like, first off, I never believed that to begin with. Secondly, I do feel like the progression in the industry where we do have more styling options and more natural looks and, different, I don't know, just the artistry of it. It truly is an art where we can do colors and color match and brown lashes and there the possibilities are truly endless with styling these days, right? And like lash mapping these days. And I feel like that's something that's very important for our industry right now to continue, not that it was like dying out or anything, but just like the next evolution of the industry, right? It's going to keep it growing and keep it going and make it so that lash extensions truly don't go out of style, because it's not just one cut look that we're doing, right? So I think that's something that you can really stand out with if you're really good at like lash mapping and lash styling, styling it to the client's eyes and like their features, their facial features, and ensuring that like the lashes look good on them. You're not just doing cookie cutter the same sets for every single person, and really being able to offer different styles that are desired right now and that are popular right now, whether that is brown lashes or wet lashes. Wet lashes are really popular right now. And it's so funny to me how popular wet lashes are, because I swear to you, that was like the biggest no no, or at least in my mind. Like, I don't know where along the line that I learned this or who said what or what the deal was, but I learned at one point in my lash career, in my early days, a decade ago, that, putting closed fans on someone's lashes was a huge no-no, was way too heavy, and you could not, should not do that. Now, we didn't really have like the really fine diameters back then quite yet. So that probably kind of played into it where like, putting 0.07 or whatever lashes, like a bundle of those on, may not be the healthiest, but it's just funny to me because it was like these things that were such a no-no back in the day are like the next creative evolution now, right? And I think it's really fun. I think that's something that I almost like want to get back into lashing again one day for, is to really master being able to be more creative with sets and like the lash mapping and styling and just really nailing that, because I feel like that just really is such a great way to stand out and just really be able to complement your client's features and be able to not just do that as your skill and like as a lash artist, but also to pull that into your marketing and talk about it and talk about your style of how you design their sets and how you do the consultation and how that makes you. You don't have to say like this is what makes me different from everybody else, but you're talking about what makes you different in that sense, and that's a great way to stand out in your area and like be able to pull that messaging into your marketing. Chef's kiss, I would absolutely be doing that if I was still lashing. If one day I lash again, I will be doing that. So there's a side note on that. So yeah, being able to offer, wet lashes, I feel like those are really popular right now. Brown lashes, it's so cool how many different shades there are now. I remember back when I was working in the first lash studio that I worked at, which if you've listened to past episodes, you know which one I'm talking about, but I'm not going to say it again. So there was only one shade of brown right? And it was so ugly to me. It was like this translucent, like you could see through the little fibers, like it wasn't like a solid brown color. And it was almost like an orange tint to it. I don't know. Like I would have to dig out. I think I have one photo of someone I did a full set of these brown lashes on. And I personally, like the style of it, the technique wise, everything was applied correctly, but I just thought the brown color on her looked, I don't wanna say horrible, but, like, it did not look good, in my opinion. I think she liked them, I hope she liked them, obviously, but, like, I didn't have a lot of options, first off. I had a lot of, like, really set rules I had to follow with this studio, which is the nice part about going out on your own, is you have a lot more creative freedom, in my opinion. I'm not gonna get on that tangent, but just the creativity of it, that you weren't really allowed to get creative with it because it needed to be something that could be replicated no matter what lash artist they went to, and no matter which franchise studio they went to, they would be able to tell them which style and lengths, and we had to do it the exact same way for every client every single time. We had like the 4 different styles or whatever, and every style was always done exactly the same. That way, no matter where they went, they could get the same exact thing, and we would all know, like, okay, this is the style they got, so this is exactly how you do it, right? So you weren't allowed to have that creativity. So there was not a lot of creative freedom with it, and it was these really ugly brown lashes, like shade of brown, in my opinion, and I just thought that they did not look that great. So I think it's really cool, the evolution of brown lashes, and like because like, when they first started getting popular in the last couple of years, I was like, "Ooh, brown lashes, no thank you," because, like, in my mind, I'm thinking about these, like, ugly orangish, like, see-through fiber things, and I just didn't love that, but seeing the amazing innovations and products and colors right now. It's so blowing my mind and I love it so much. Like if you haven't started getting into like the brown lashes, like do a model set and just try it out and see, like play with it and get creative with it and let yourself get outside of your comfort zone and see what happens. And I just from a marketing standpoint, from a clientele building standpoint, a lot of people like in the DMs asking for brown lashes across multiple of our clients' accounts who do lash extensions. So it's definitely a service that is popular right now and that is being requested. And like the color matching of it to be able to match different shades to their hair color, the different features. I'm not someone who's very good with like color matching myself personally. That would be something I would definitely take a class on if I was still offering lashes right now. So I'm not going to give you tips on that, but I think that is a cool thing that's happening that could really help you stand out, especially if you feel like you're in a saturated area or you're in a small town or you just want something that gives you a little bit of an edge on top of other lash artists in your area. That's something I would get on top of and not just do it, but pull it into your messaging. Because if you're not pulling these things into your messaging, people aren't going to know that you're offering them. Like your potential clients aren't going to know. So it's definitely important to pull into that. Okay, next thing, more natural looks. This kind of ties into the first one that we talked about, but the really thick, heavy mega volume, there's still clients out there who love that. But I think the styles are just evolving and changing right now. And the more natural styles are popular, the more like texture, kind of strip lash look. I've seen even people asking for like anime lashes, requesting that in DMs. It's just different looks, like getting good at different lash maps, different styles, getting creative with it, being able to do a natural set for someone that's not like super heavy, like overpowering all of their features, super thick, like caterpillar like lashes. I think that's a really huge skill to be able to hone in on. And like someone who's a master of your craft, who's like a master lash artist, can be able to do effectively and do well with different styles, be able to give them different styles, in my opinion. Obviously, there's instances where it's like, okay, you master one style. I feel like every lash artist does have their style of how they do lashes, and that is so great. But I think it also is just beneficial to push yourself outside of your comfort zone to try something new, especially when it comes to things that are trending and that clients are asking for and clients are wanting right now. I think it's worth getting good at that. So, in my opinion, a really master of their craft lash artist can be able to give a client just about any look that they're asking for, whether that is more dramatic, whether that is more natural, or at least like just have versatile set of skills to be able to give them a variety of different looks. Maybe not every look, but a variety. And that's just my opinion. Take it or leave it, like it or not. That's just how I feel. So, let's see. Another thing, and this is not necessarily with like actual like lash technique or skills themselves, but one thing I find interesting, and obviously with 2020 was a lot of like online stuff, and that's where we got into like our online education era as an industry, and there were a lot of online courses and ebooks and different things, and which was amazing because I feel like it was a really great way to learn and get educated in a time that was a little nerve-wracking as an industry, just not being sure like what was going to happen, how this was going to turn out, whatever else. And anyway, I think it's kind of evolving right now. We went like really hardcore online courses and online education, and now we're like swinging the complete opposite end of things and hitting like the in-person stuff real hard. Like I feel like in-person events and education are so popular right now. Everyone's throwing events. I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm not saying anything bad about it. But there are a lot of in-person events popping up all over the place, which is amazing. Especially it's especially cool, I think, to see events popping up in places where they don't normally get thrown, like more East Coast, Midwest, that type of thing. I freaking love it. And I just think it's really cool how many in-person events there are now. I did a reel or like a TikTok about this a few weeks ago. But, when I first got started as a lash artist, I would have loved to attend things like this. Like, I think it would have been really cool to have. And obviously, it just wasn't a thing yet. And now that it is, that's absolutely something I would be looking at attending at least some of them. And we're all in different seasons of our life, whether that's not something you can afford to do yet, or that's not something that your schedule wise are able to do, or if you're a mom. I know for me, it's like hard for me to get to in person events. So I'm not saying you have to be at like every event out there because there's always going to be more events and there's always going to be things popping up. Obviously, it's what I'm saying is more and more and more popping up and like happening. But if there is an event like in your area or an event you see that looks really cool that you are able to go to, like I definitely would try and go if I were you. And that's something that I would, and I still am, even in my business now, like, am prioritizing is in person things. Even if it's just local in person events, whether it's networking or trade show type of events, where you can like have a booth, like just opportunities to get out there and meet people. And especially if you're someone who wants to grow your service based business, like being able to network with your local area and get to know people and get to know your community and how you can better serve them and what they're looking for, there's just nothing else out there that's gonna replace that, and that connection that you get and meeting people and just getting to know your community. It's gonna go a very long way for your business. So I love to see that there's so many in-person events that are happening now, and in the lash industry or beauty industry specifically, yeah, we're definitely in our event era. There's so many of them, and I think it's amazing, and that's definitely something I would, attend if you're able to, if you can attend like 1 or 2 events this year or take, 1 or 2 courses this year. That's always something I've always told all of my lash clients is like, I think it's important to take at least 1 course a year, whether it is online or in person, to stay on top of the trends, stay on top of what's popular, what's new, just to stay on top of your education because our industry is so much newer, like especially like in comparison to like the hair industry, and it is constantly evolving and changing and getting better, and the innovation, it's amazing. So I think it's important to stay on top of those things. And so, attending an event or 2 a year, it's fun. It's a good time. You learn a lot. You're able to network. You're able to connect with other lash artists, other beauty professionals, and just be able to grow your business. And not only that, but that makes you stand out in your area too, in my opinion, because you are staying on top of your education. You are attending these events. You do take your business and your craft seriously. And that's again something that you can take and pull into your content messaging and your content online and talk about these things so that people in your area know that like you do take this seriously. You are staying on top of these things. You're now offering this really amazing new technique or color matching or brown lashes or, like being able to complement their features and really map their lash extensions to their face and like their eyes and make it super custom. Like whether you took like Maven artistry space studies, like that's absolutely that I don't even do lashes anymore consistently, and that is still on my bucket list of courses to take at some point in my life. And I think she just came out with it online too. So if you're like really wanting to get into like the custom sets and lash mapping to their facial features and their eye features, that's the one I would recommend. I haven't even taken it yet, but it just anything Trina does, it's so thought out and so good. And like her products, I'm not I just love her and her company, and I think she just the quality and the standards that she has in, like, her ethics and just, like, standards, who she is as a person, love her, support anything she would ever put out in her face studies course. Like I said, it's on my bucket list still, and I'm not even consistently doing lashes anymore. So, yeah, that's just these little things, and I mean, maybe these aren't some of these things aren't little, but it's all the little like actions you take like this that really add up to helping you be able to stand out. So yeah, these are some of the different things that I feel like are really popular right now. They're trending right now, and that are going to be a lot of what's talked about in the industry over the next year or two. And with that, if you're able to stay on top of these things, it's going to help you stand out. It's going to help you be able to become a go to lash artist in your area and really give yourself an edge on others around you. I'm totally community over competition minded, which that's another thing we should touch on really fast too. So I feel like I don't want to say like, oh, put an edge on your competition, but just to like give you something that helps you to stand out in comparison to others in your area. Give you something to talk about in your content that's like, hey, this is what I do. And it really is going to help you just attract the people who want that and really help you attract clients at a much higher rate. But yeah, with that, another thing that I'm noticing, I've been really good just kind of observing, and it's interesting to me that the people who are quote unquote on top or doing really well or seemingly doing really well, they're collaborating, right? Whether it's throwing events or, lash artists getting together in their areas and they're doing like the lash brunches and different things. And like their businesses seem to be doing so well. And they feel like, I mean, it seemed to me to be like thriving as lash artists, right? They're collaborating, they're not competing. It's interesting to me that people who are collaborating are the ones that get to the top much faster. The ones who master their crafts a lot faster are the ones who have that community feel and that support, and who are able to grow their businesses not just quicker, but I feel like more sustainably, more effectively, more efficiently. They just are thriving as lash artists because they're collaborating. It's more of that community over competition type of mindset. So, just something I've observed, something I've noticed. People at the top are collaborating, and I think that's something we can take a lesson away from. So, yep, those are my thoughts. That's what I feel like is trending right now, what's popular right now. What are some different things that you can be doing to ensure that you're staying on top of things and that you are offering your clients the best service you can and being able to stand out in your area? And just don't forget to police things like when you're doing stuff like this, just pull it into your content messaging, pull it onto your website, like put that out there into the world online. And that way people know that you offer these things, and potential clients who don't know you yet, who are trying to decide if they're going to book with you, can know these things about you, that you do this, because otherwise all they know is that you do lash extensions and so does the person down the street. So how are they going to pick between the two, right? If you're not giving them these things, if you're not pulling these things into your messaging, putting it on your website, writing it in your content, letting them know that you do these things, then they only know that you do lash extensions, person down the street does lash extensions. And a lot of the times they're going to pick based on price or just whose style they like better, whose availability is better. If you really want someone to want to come to you before anybody else and really want to come to you and make it work, whether it is a little bit out of their budget or a little stretchy for them price wise, or whether, they have to really adjust their schedule to be able to fit your availability, the ones who are willing to do that are going to do so because you offer things that other people don't, right? There's something about you, whether they just really like you or it's the style that you do or whatever else, there's something about you that they're going to really like. And whether that's like good retention, or, the way that you style the lashes and the experience that you give them. Pull these things into your messaging, okay? And when I say retention too, I'm going to say one last thing. Well, I keep thinking of more things. One last thing on this, okay? Retention, I don't feel like there's a trend, but I do feel like this is something you should absolutely focus on and make sure you're getting the best retention for your clients if you want to keep people coming back to you and to be able to have like a long-term sustainable career as a lash artist. Like, the lash industry isn't dying. However, lash clients are tired of paying for lashes that don't last. No one wants to pay like the prices of lash extensions to have their lashes fall out within a week. Or, no one wants to pay for lash extensions that don't last. So retention is absolutely something that absolute key if you want to be a lash artist who sticks with it and does this long term and is successful with it. And good retention, the word of mouth that spreads from that, and just the content it gives you, and the way it's able to help you build your business. Don't sleep on that. Don't overlook your retention. Don't just blame it on your clients. Figure out what you can be doing to better your retention this year. I promise you that in and of itself will help you grow your business so much. So, those are my thoughts. I'm going to end it there before I think of five other things to talk about on this topic too. But yeah, this is kind of fun. And, standing out in your area, be better than you were yesterday. Don't worry about everybody else. Don't get yourself in that comparison mode. How are you being better than the last artist that you were yesterday? Because that's what's going to help you grow the most. And your only competition is yourself. Okay. You've got this. You're amazing. You're going to have a great week. Keep it up. I'm proud of you. And I hope that you have a wonderful week. Thank you for listening. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you listen to podcast apps so that you can get notified of new episodes every Tuesday. If you love the show, if this has helped you at all, if you've enjoyed listening, share this with a friend, anything like that, you could please go leave the podcast a review wherever you listen at. I would very much appreciate that. We're really working on growing the show right now, and that helps us get found and, get seen by more lash artists, more beauty professionals, and be able to help you guys out. So you could go leave a review. I would love you forever. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next week.